Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Kisa here, and today I have like a story video plus deck profile ish plus news plus I don't know explanation video. Uh, and the topic is obviously for people that know me. It's Data Live. Data Live was a very powerful deck that just got hit, and as an IP, it's very close to my heart because I really love the show, love the light novels. They're really good, in my opinion, of course. Uh, but yeah, if you've been living under a rock, Data Live got hit, and honestly, this was deserved. There's nothing else I have to say about that. This was a correct ban list. Uh, the specifics of the ban list is Kurumi is now restricted to 2 copies, and these three are in a choice three, which means that you can only play one of these three, 4 copies, but you can only play one of three. And the if you still don't get it, because I've seen people in Twitter say, "Oh, why did we needed a ban list for this?" Well, this deck is degenerate. This deck had the very impressive ability to sculpt the top of your deck. Usually, you've seen in the past effects that says Uh, okay, when you take damage, you may look at the top card, put it in the waiting room. We had a lot of effects like that. For example, the Yui from SAO, it's the prime example. But they gave the condition to a 1-0, and they gave it to uh, be on reverse, which meant that if you're winning board, you get to sculpt the top of your deck. Combined with Choo Choo, that on reverse let you look at the top 2 cards of your deck, you get extra sculpting, and in the end, you started snowballing out of control. So it became very, very, very annoying. Combined with your brainstorm being really, really good for a standby deck because you had the ability of bounce back to the hand, it was incredibly powerful. And initially, the ban list for Data Live was like 1-0 Toka, 3-2 Kurumi, and the My Little Shido event. And the My Little Shido event is like very, very powerful, but it doesn't do anything in the current standby builds because due to this brainstorm being so good and being a rest too, you didn't have the rest target for the My Little Shido event. So it became like very dead, and you had to like choose between using MLS and using this, and you were 100% of the time using this because this is your better plussing. So yeah, obviously, Dead Alive is not dead. You have more options. We're gonna talk about it later. Well, yeah, Daylight became this deck that can like mess around with the top of the deck too much. And as we all know, By Shores is a game of chance. It's a game of numbers, where you usually edging edging your chances to cancel, your chances to do anything. And when you get to look at the top of your deck as much as Daylight did, you're rigging those chances very hard. Uh, and this deck became very oppressive, but counters started to appear. For example, way back in 2020, one of the good decks against Data Live was Madoka because it had the Sayaka EP that gained the ability that you cannot throw events nor backups during these backups during the battle. So it became very fast. You go over the Toka, and you usually get over the Toka because she was 9-5, so it became 14 or 13-5, and you just eat the Toka. And because Toka didn't have Encore, you force the Data Light player to just like replace it. And that's very annoying until Yoshino became the solution. Yoshino is such a powerful card. Uh, the fact that she can save uh, your choo-choos from those very fat EPs that cannot be interacted with gave this deck an extra layer of protection that maybe the deck didn't deserve to have. Sometimes you just get a Yoshino early and you dominate the entire game just because Yoshino is there. Just sits on the back. You save your Tokas. Sometimes you stand by a Toka to the back, attack with your Yoshino, and then you put your 2/2 on the front during the next combat, and that was usually enough to like halt off an entire turn. Just because your Toka's now in the front, you have the power to sculpt your damage, your incoming damage. It was very good. So, example, usually your board looked like this because you bounce the standby, you bounce the brainstorm to hand, you put the Yoshino in the back, or you put the Toka in the back. You have the Yoshino in front. You attack, then do the swap, and Yoshino could save herself. You could like throw if you have, for example, a random zero on the back. You could just swap the Yoshino out to save it. So that's very very powerful. In the end, I think Yoshino was the reason why after the first choice restriction, Data Life still was a powerful deck. Wasn't like top tier, but people wanted Data like that just because of Yoshino. I remember seeing some Japanese tweets like, "Yeah, can we kill Yoshino, please, please? Can we take her out of the game because she was too powerful to run into?" And yeah, Yoshino obviously a very powerful card. Uh, I think she was the key to my success at BRO because she's really really powerful. She gave me a lot of outs to a lot of plays. So yeah, pretty happy. Now sad the deck is dead, but I mean you can adapt to the newer builds, but you're not gonna be as powerful as what Data Light used to be. Obviously, your brainstorm was really good. You had this engine that let you sculpt. You have multiples. It scaled really hard. So yeah, this is why Data Lab got hit in basically basic explanation. Like this game, and this applies for every TCG. The more information you have, the better your decisions are, and that means that information becomes as because more powerful, the better the player that's having it. If you give the same information to two players, one of them will take a better decision. And when this deck giving a bunch of information to the same player, if you were focused, the deck was just snowball out of control. Safe to say, this was a very hard deck to play just because of the information. Sometimes too much information is bad for a player because it like overwhelms them. So yeah, you had these players that just couldn't play Data Live, not because they were bad. It's just because the deck has too much information that they didn't want to process. That's why the mirror sucks as well. The mirror was one of the most painful experiences I've gone through. At BSF, I think I played 5 mirrors of Data Live, and never again. After BSFO, I didn't touch the deck for like 4 months, just because I didn't want to play it. The deck, it was painful. I remember ended up with headaches whenever I decided to like whip out the deck for a tournament or something. It was very painful for my head. So yeah, didn't want to play it. I would just rather play anything else except this. But BRO came around. I had to play this deck because it's obviously one of the best decks in format. I got a decent result. Second place. Sadly, I still haven't got my prices up for that, but sad. And the reason, if you see this deck is sleeved yet, is because I'm gonna be part of a showcase in the Strictly Broken TCG Twitch channel. We are gonna play against Steve, who ended up third at the AO region, same region I played in. We're gonna like make a what if situation. If what if we play the finals instead? We'll see how it goes. He plays the coin flip fate. That's a very powerful deck, a very interesting deck. Also leaking in Japanese, which is incredible. So yeah, I'm looking forward for that. Descriptions for the channel are going to be in the description box below. The matchup is on Sunday. I don't know the exact time yet, but if I manage to know, I'll just add it to the description box. But yeah, I'm sad the deck is gone. For for the reason that I really love Data Live as a franchise. I mean, as someone who likes Spice very much, it was very hard to find an IP that I really wanted to own a deck from. Because I got Nisekoi. I really love Nisekoi as well, but it took me a lot to find Nisekoi. And then after Nisekoi, I bought like one or two decks and I wasn't happy with them because the decks weren't good or just weren't. I just forced myself into liking the IP to play them. For example, Konosuba. I really don't like Konosuba as a show. Uh, I'm not gonna say anything to you if you like Konosuba. It's a great show. I just don't like it. But I qualified to Worlds with Konosuba, and I really. And it was funny when people ask me like, "Oh, you must love Konosuba." Like, no, I just dropped it at the first episode, and they told me like, "You have to watch Konosuba, dude. You won with that deck. You have to watch it." No, I don't want to. Nah. So it was hard to find myself. Then I went to the Worlds. I played SAO. Did poorly because obviously SAO wasn't like the best deck. I should have just brought Attack on Titan, but I didn't want to play the mirror, and because obviously the mirror benefited the better player and the player that with the most experience in the mirror, and that clearly wasn't me. And honestly, then I became a Bandery main. I played Bandery for a lot of time, and now I just because I have like now and because I had a show I liked, I didn't need to start playing to keep playing Bandery. So just kind of drop it up to the side. I still like it, but this was just funnier and better until the mirror started happening and it was painful to play. Uh, I even won a shop league with this deck. It's funny, like I built a 8 standby Bandery deck, then I used it to like hold the line until this deck could arrive and win like 2 weeks straight to ensure I got the first place. Sadly, I had to sell the PR because obviously poverty was a thing during COVID for me. Uh, that's one of the reasons that I couldn't buy the set in Japanese at first. I didn't have the money, unemployment, recently graduated, all the bad stuff during a pandemic. And I remember uh, being like poor during the pandemic and say, why I really want to play Data Live. Finally, Data Live came out in Japanese, and I didn't have the money. And I remember Jesus telling me like, "Yo, do you want me to lend you money?" And you just paid me like like 4 months, 6 months. And I know that was such a sweet deal, and I really wanted to take it. But at this point, when you've been like so low, so short on cash for so long, you say, you know what, I should not take it. I should just not uh, take that money from you. I don't know if I, even though you give me so much time to pay, there's no way to know that I will have the money to pay you. And then later I got like some extra cash, and then my parents gave me some money for birthdays and Christmas. I was like, wait, now I can pay for this, and I bought the English playset. That's a place that I'm treasuring even until today. Like I even have this box that where the playset came in. It's like so kind of sort of kind of because sometimes I just take cards out to like look at them because I really like the show. So yeah, of course I will look at the cards that have the art of the show in it. But yeah, and obviously I love having options. Buying playsets is better for the English format. Shoutouts to Mac TCG. If you ever Mike Shun, if you ever see this, thank you for the deal on this. I know it was a long ago, it was like a year ago or so. But yeah, thank you very much. I think I paid 300 for the entire playset plus TD, which meant I didn't have to scramble for these. This card is really powerful. So yeah, uh, I am very thankful for this deck. I'm very thankful for Data Live to exist because it made me say, okay, I will have a good deck and of a show I like in the competitive format that is English. So I was super happy. I really love this franchise. I hope you guys ever decide, if you ever decide to read the light novels, please do. It's a very enjoyable ride. Has some very like powerful moments, and yeah, and so yeah. Also, shout outs to like Garrett, who taught me how to play this deck when it came out. Obviously, he jammed the deck so much in Japanese that I just went to him and said, "Yo, teach me this shit. I want to be good at this deck." And he taught me a lot, like the value of these cards. Actually, I would have not been surprised if instead of like I don't know the brainstorm, they would have hit this. This hit actually hurts a lot because it hurts the ability to splash blue into any deck. So I think that makes it the better hit. But I would have not been surprised if the console Toka became part of the restriction at some point. Now it doesn't matter. Now this 8 standby deck is so dead that this card can run free and it's fine. This is a very powerful card. Like half of your game early game depended on seeing this card and getting good use out of it. And you saw in the mirrors, for example, you saw which player was gonna win the early game just based on how they use this. Because this could set up your standby targets or set up the top of your deck, do a lot of shit for you. That's very impressive. But yeah, obviously Data Live as a set is not dead. You have access to more cards. First of all, my little sheet is not on the restriction list, which means you can add any of these three to any deck and still run a little Shido. Uh, Very powerful. You have another brainstorm. This is the double R brainstorm from the first set. This one is really busted, but this one synergized better with the standby deck. For choice decks, I think you easily run into you just swap to this as you run this. You just swap to this. This one's very good. Also rest one, which means that you can use your back row for Shido. So it synergizes very well. Now you're gonna play. If you want to play, for example, choice daily reminder, you have the very powerful choice combo. This is a +2 most of the time. It gets you into another trigger usually, so that's a +3 on one attack. Very powerful. Obviously a little small, but you don't care. Even if you throw it away into a lane, you +2, so the card replaces itself. And the deck compresses so well that you might just actually want them to hit into your empty lane. So yeah, very powerful. Combining with the, for example, the easy like new deck you can build from Data Lives, you can play like choice standby and just run the Kurumis as a standby as a regular finisher and not worry about the standby much. You can play like one or two standby targets, so just use the standby as a regular plus. So yeah, that's a very easy option that you can pivot into. Uh, yeah. Also, you can just buy the Kurumi finisher from Data Bullet, very powerful deck, but obviously not as strong. Now that, and also because you're gonna play 1K ones now, you can play the clean cut. Clean cut's very good. What other cards you can play? The event package if you want to keep doing the standby route. You can play the basic realizer. In the beginning, with Kurumi got limited, like good when the choice restriction was Kurumi +2. I remember, if I remember correctly, it was like Kurumi, Toka, and the My Little Shido event. That was the first restriction. When this was a restriction, for example, people tried to pivot into the White Queen level 3. I don't remember the combo very well, but it's a fine combo, and you pivot into Grain as well. You can just play the Kurumi, not play this, and play the basic realizer event as your like defensive mechanism. Obviously, this card is very powerful. It's a minus soul counter that you can split. So it's very powerful. Obviously, if you're pivoting into green because you play like I don't know 6 down by 2 bar or 7 down by 1 bar, that was the usual when I saw that list. That was fine also because this is a climax swap. So it was a fun idea, uh, worth exploring. I don't know how good it will be, but worth exploring. Also, because now this is hit, you can run this instead. I mean, at PRO, people already run this. I recognize my mistake of not running this, just because I was like, I'm gonna I'm gonna rely harder on Yoshino. I'm gonna stick to the main plan, to the original main plan. I'm gonna rely harder on Yoshino. That's why I didn't play this. But I thought like the night before, maybe I should just add one to the list, and I fell asleep. Fell asleep that night, so I couldn't change it. But yeah, I mean, I still got the job done. Got a top of Euro with the list. Yeah, very powerful. Also, don't forget, we have Ricky now. We should have made fun of me for not having them during the tournament. And I did have them. I just couldn't play them. That was one of the most painful experiences ever. Having the cards for your deck and not being able to play it. Yeah, that sucked. That sucked so hard. I was really really mad. But yeah, uh, again, Dead Alive is gonna be one of my favorite franchises of all time. Kurumi's a great waifu, and this deck will live on as a memory of like the deck that was so broken it got hit super fast in Japan, but the English side got experience for a full year, and honestly became this like meta warping thing. So people were just scared of Kurumi's face. I don't remember that with a grin in my face. So yeah, thank you for watching. I know this felt like a weird video, but I really wanted to get out my thoughts on the restriction. I thought it was well deserved. The deck is dumb. The mirror was awful to play. It was interesting, like if you want like to get deeper into the situations and the gameplay, but overall it was a pain to play. I really hated to play the mirror, mostly because it was a drag out. It was super annoying, and it could just explode at some point. So now you guys are free of the curse of data live. I'm free of the curse of having to play the mirror. So we all win here. And yeah, any questions or things you want to say, leave them in the description down below. I'll read them very quick and try to answer you. But yeah, thank you very much for watching. If you like this style of video, let me know. And until the next time, I guess if I buy the choice combo, I might make a deck profile on it, but that's debatable. I'll know later. Until next time, this is Kisa signing out, and see y'all on the next time.